This is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey,
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's
He is
more
like a rude, crude dude that will never go.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politics. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Easter. He is risen. That's the good news of the day. Honestly, it's the best news of the day that you're going to get because it's all downhill from there. Welcome. I hope everybody's having a great holiday Sunday. Hope everybody's spent some time with their family and remembered what the reason for the season. That doesn't have to be a Christmas thing, right? Remember what the reason for the season is. If you're in government work, your chances are you're going to be off tomorrow too. That's magnificent for you, I guess. Man, I tell you, I'm sorry we're a little late here tonight. We're not too late. It's what, 9:09? It's 9:09. My baby said she's traveling on the one after 9:09. Well, hey, folks, we are getting closer to a good studio here, and I tell you what will help us is if you smash that like button, you hit that bell, you do all of the things that you're supposed to do on YouTube. That would be absolutely fantastic. We would be able to be happy and rejoice for you. We'll have clicked the buttons and we can move on with the show. Hey, before we get started though, I do need to share this out with a couple of other groups because we're going to be talking about a couple important things tonight. And before we get started, what's up, Muncie? I want to give a great big shout out to the moderators at the Nosy Asses of Randolph County group, because part of what we do here politically is kind of pay attention to what's going on in community groups and whatnot. And it kind of gets hard to do it, if it's just one person or two people. Sometimes we need 3 or 4 or 5 or more. And somehow, I cannot even begin to understand this, but Kate got herself banned from the Nosy Asses of Randolph County group. And what blows my mind is, by the name, you can tell the name of the page is the Nosy Asses of Randolph County, and like part of their shtick is, like spill the tea, gossip, spread the news. Let's do it. Let's get it out here. And they the language doesn't bother them over there. They're doing all kinds of everything. All right. It's really crazy. And so I was blown away. I'm like, how in the world, what would Kate have done to have been blocked? Like, that's really crazy. Like, a lot of people can do a lot of things to get blocked from a lot of places, but Kate is not generally one of these people that finds herself getting blocked because, she just, nothing really bothers her. What other people saying, it doesn't, whatever. And so I contacted a person on that page a while back because, look, it's a page in a county where we follow a lot of stuff. And I'll be honest, I don't follow a lot of Randolph County stuff anymore. So I have to rely on Kate to give me my Randolph County news. And it really hurt us, her being blocked. The show, it really hurt the show. And even Brandon, who no longer lives in Jay County area, hell, he's been following the Randolph County page. And so today I said, you know what? I'm going to reach out to the highest of the high of that page, and I'm going to find out if there is not something that we can't do. See, Kate couldn't do it because she's blocked. So like there's nothing that she can do to reach out. So I was like, hey, you have a friend of mine blocked. And yeah, normally she only gets blocked because she's a friend of mine. And like we've got political candidates or people that will block her because they're like afraid that she's going to see all of the big news. And so they will block her from seeing their stuff. But that's not what was going on over there on the page. So we really didn't understand. But I reached out to them and hey, you know what? They said, yeah, we don't know. She's been blocked since September of like 24. I mean, it's been a long time. So they said, yeah, we can unblock her. And I said, well, listen, you're definitely not going to have any trouble out of her. I promise. I don't know, what the deal would have been, but they did unblock her. And we are so grateful to them for her doing that. That helps us. That helps us follow what's going on over there. And I'm going to start out. We're going to be talking about Muncie, and we're going to be talking about Henry County, these two groups tonight, these two areas and things going on there. But we're going to start out with a situation out of the Randolph County nosy group, and I feel like it's very important to talk about this because of what's going on, and this will affect everybody. It doesn't just affect Randolph County, it affects everybody. So there was a post over there made a couple days ago. I think this was made on Friday the 3rd of April. A person said, what in the blank happened yesterday in the courthouse, meaning in Randolph County's courthouse. And then this person shared an article, and the article says, James Raber, 64, of Indianapolis, pled guilty on April 2nd in Randolph County, Indiana, to child solicitation, a level 4 felony. The judge reportedly gave him an 8-year sentence, fully suspended. So that means 8 years in prison for you, but you don't have to do a day of it in prison because it's suspended. Now, he got 4 years of probation. He got 4 years of probation. But, who couldn't do that standing on their head rather than go to prison for 8 years? As a part of the plea deal, the attempted child molestation charge, a level 1 felony, was dismissed. Listen to what I'm telling you. Indianapolis pled, James Raber from Indianapolis pled guilty to a level 4 felony, and they dropped the level 1 felony, attempted child molestation. And they gave him 8 years, fully suspended, 4 years probation. The article says investigators allege that they believe that he was talking online to a 13-year-old girl, but was actually messaging an undercover sheriff's deputy when he was arrested after they were going to meet the supposed child in May of 2025. Now, this doesn't even include those groups online that like go after the people and do all of that stuff. No, this was actually a sheriff's deputy that he was talking to. So it was like the real deal. And even though that was going on, like they, for whatever reason, decided to drop the most serious count. Now, listen, I've always been very, very, very friendly and supportive of David Dowley. But I have to say, what in the hell, Dave? What are you and your office doing? I mean, do you have senioritis this much that you're just done and so it doesn't matter? I mean, this is nuts to me. This kind of stuff is really making me question what Dave is doing over there. And so the people in that group, they got to talking about this, and they were griping back and forth and saying, like, why set up a sting operation if you're not going to make him feel any pain? Our county is awful with prosecution of these awful people. They let so many go free. Think about this. They are letting pedophiles in my world, get off with a little time spent in jail. Does anybody think maybe they are being paid to let that slide? Just a question, not saying this is happening, just wondering, is anybody else concerned? We need a different judge. We need a different prosecutor. We need to rise up as a community. People are talking about wanting to protest, go and protest outside. We want to take 7 people and we want to go rah, rah, hiss, boom, bah outside of the courthouse, which is not going to do diddly shit. Okay? Someone says, let's not forget Louis Galligan. Louis Galligan had been very, very close with the mayor, Bob McCoy, as well as his uncle being the sheriff of Winchester. Watch this video from Kristopher Bilbrey where Louis Galligan explains Bob and his relationship, along with how Bob McCoy asked Louis if he was bringing coke. Louis then went back to the mayor Bob to mend friendships in the second linked video. Let's think about this now. With all of these connections, who was Louis exploiting these kids to? Probably those same people with the power that became so close with him. The whole county is a joke filled with disgusting people who are exposed to be in power. I also feel Kristopher Bilbrey should be putting more input into this whole situation. Well, let me tell you. I'm one person, and I don't vote in Randolph County. I got down in the comments, and let me tell you what my comments were. And a lot of this, someone says, not being political here, but we all agree that adults who take advantage of young children, no matter what side of the aisle, is wrong. Judges and prosecutors should do their jobs. Let's be political for a minute. How about we do that? How about we be political for a minute? This is what I said. Listen. It comes down to the simple fact that not enough people are educated about what's going on here. Let's just be honest about this for a second here, if we can, okay? The problem is there are not enough people that are educated about what's going on. Let me figure out where I'm at here so I can see exactly what I'm talking about. I swear to you all, tomorrow, when you come into this show, the monitor will be up on the screen. We got so close to it today, but I just didn't want to mess things up before showtime, so I let the rest of it go. But tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, that's the very first thing I'm doing before anything else happens. So tomorrow when you come in, the monitor will be there, and I'll be looking directly at you the whole time. So just bear with me for one more night. But this is what I said to the people of Randolph County who think that this is my responsibility. Listen, it comes down to the simple fact that not enough people are educated about local issues. Not enough people are engaged, and not enough people show up to vote. So the same 800 to 1,000 people in city elections and the same 8,000 to 10,000 people in county elections are the ones who vote. The same people, putting the same people in charge over and over and over again. Okay, that means that there are nearly 8,000 additional people that are registered who just simply don't show up. 8,000 people just stay at home. If even 4,000, if even half of that group would show up this May and vote, they could make a difference. Now, let me be honest. It's not going to make a difference this May because nobody's running for anything. You know, nobody runs. Here's the thing. People aren't educated. Therefore, they're not engaged. They don't vote, but there's nobody to vote for because people don't run. Okay? For example, voter registration for this current election ends tomorrow, Monday, April 6th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. But there are people in Randolph County there are people in Madison County, there are people in Henry County and Delaware County and Jay County and Grant County and Marion County and Vigo County and Allen County and all 92 counties in Indiana who will not be registered to vote by the time the clock strikes midnight on Tuesday. And you guys will be screwed yet again, but you'll be bitching on social media. But that doesn't do anything. If someone isn't registered by the deadline, they will not be able to vote in the primary election on Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. If you want to register, you can do so from the device that you're listening to this on. All you have to do is simply go. I was like, wow, Kate, what's going on? Kate's not at the table. Give me a second. I'll put up the thing on there so you guys can see what's happening. Sorry, give us a second here. We're new to this. We've never done this before. Okay, there we go. Sorry, that was okay, here we go. Back to it. You can register by clicking the link at the bottom of the screen, okay? www.indianavoters.com, www.indianavoters.com, www.indianavoters.com. That's INDIANAVOTERS.com. Get registered. You will need your name, you'll need your driver's license and or your social security number, and it will take you less than 5 minutes. But even if you're registered, I would highly recommend clicking the link to verify your information is correct. Have you ever gotten married since you voted last? Have you gotten divorced? Have you moved? These things matter, but only then if you actually show up to vote. Because if you click on this crap tonight or tomorrow or sometime between 11:59 tomorrow evening and you click on it and you go through the motions, but you don't get educated and you don't vote, then it doesn't matter. Okay, you actually have to get out and do it. But that's the issue. Because too few people are engaged. Too few people are engaged enough to run for office. Too few people are engaged enough to support candidates that they actually like or to get to know candidates to decide if they like them. Too few people are engaged enough to vote for new and different candidates. Winchester and Randolph County, their same 10,000 beautiful people countywide continue to elect their same old friends because they're nice, because they smile and wave at church, because they were my librarian in school, because my son played t-ball with their son, and that means something. It doesn't mean jack crap. Those are all piss poor reasons to elect somebody. You don't elect somebody because they waved at you at church. I'm sorry. If you're doing that, don't go vote. Let me be clear. If that's how you vote, don't go vote. Get educated, get engaged, and get to the polls. Or keep electing the same people to the point that people have no other choice than to move from blank county, move from Randolph County, move from Delaware County, move from Henry County, move from whatever county you want it to be in order to try and find a better life. Or keep electing the same people to the point that people have to try and do something different, like kill themselves because they're tired of being raped at gunpoint by Louis Galligan, and all for Louis to get a smack on the ass and to be sent to prison, which honestly he'll look at as a summer camp. It takes more than being mad on Facebook. And I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just telling you, to be real, getting a few of your friends, 2 or 3 people in a car and running down to the courthouse and making a sign and saying, hey, hey, ho, ho, whatever judge has to go, that's not going to do it. That's just simply not going to do it. So that's where we open with tonight. Voters registration, seriously, folks, is up. Everybody's been following this Artemis thing, and we've been, T minus 24 hours, T minus 12 hours, T minus, 4 hours, T minus 30 minutes, T minus 8 minutes, and then it blasts off. We are now to that countdown period on the end of voters registration. I haven't pushed this enough in the last couple of months because I've been dealing with, all this studio crap. But it almost gets to a point that it's like, I don't know if anybody's doing it. I know that there are people that do it, I hear, but trickling down one or two people enough. I mean, while it means something to me, that's not enough to make a change. So we need people to get registered. Catherine called me tonight and said, hey, I just want to verify. If somebody is going to be 17 in May, but their birthday is in August, I said, stop, register that person. Get that person registered. Don't let them leave your site until they are registered. Get their phone number and make sure that their butt is at the polling place on Tuesday, May 5th. She's like, okay, that's what I need to know. I'm like, get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Okay? We got to get it done. That we have to almost be militant about this. Register to vote. Click the link at the bottom of the screen and get it done. And don't complain. Here's the thing. And listen, I do want to give the credit where credit's due to Brando for a lot of that argument, because he's the one that turned us on to this situation in Randolph County. Because I normally go to the Randolph County Nosy group every now and then, but I'm following just too much, and I almost forget that Kate was blocked from there. Thank God she's not blocked from there now, so that's good. But I want to thank Brandon for bringing this to my attention, because I was tagged there, but it didn't show up. I get tagged so much that doesn't. If you're tagging me on social media and think that I'm going to see that, you got to do it a different way. You got to text it to me, or you got to private message it to me. I don't get my notifications on social media like that. There are too many of you doing it, and we're to a point where that doesn't work. But you have to understand, this isn't a Democrat or Republican thing. It's not a Libertarian or a Green Party thing. It's seriously, we're not on team sports here. Find out who these people are. Talk to them. And you have to ask real questions. We're going to talk about that here in a minute too. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but we're going to talk about this voter registration thing throughout the evening. Okay. There's going to be more things I'm going to bring up about it, but we're going to talk about that. But, okay. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to move on to talk about tomorrow evening. This week is going to be a busy week. I have some things still moving in here in the studio that I got to deal with. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. Tomorrow, listen to the schedule for tomorrow. So tomorrow we have the Delaware County Commissioners meeting at 9 a.m. We then have at 6 p.m. the John Sproles live Facebook Q&A kickoff at 6 p.m. So at 9 a.m. we have Delaware County. At 6 p.m., we have John Sproles. At 7 p.m., we have Muncie City Council meeting. And then at 11:59 p.m., we have the end of voter registration. So tomorrow is going to be a long, long, long day. Up and down everywhere, up and down the dial. Now, Kate and I are going to talk when we get off the show tonight about how we're going to work out this situation tomorrow. Because I've got to be at the Muncie City Council meeting tomorrow. There's one specific thing that I have to be there to talk about, so I've got to be there. Okay, I can't. I don't think I can get out of it. So that's that. I've been thinking, what's more important? I think I have to go to the meeting because I have to talk about. I want to make sure that they know that the language in that ordinance has to be fixed, has to be worked on. So I got to go to the meeting at 7. I don't know how long John's going to roll. I can't help but think that he's not going to go for maybe an hour. What are you saying down there? 45, 50 minutes, something like that. He did this kind of last time, but Facebook's got rid of all of the videos, so I don't really know what I can't go back and review it. But so I will be on there. For the first little bit. I think Kate's going to be there. I know. Here's what I want you to remember, people. We don't need to do the gotchas. We don't need to get in there and do a bunch of funny stuff and get you. We need to get serious questions put in front of him for him to do one of two things. Not answer the question. Answer the question and obfuscate and lie and do some kind of chaos around it, but we'll have him hammered down because he'll have answered it, or not answer, or to lie. I guess that one of those are the two things that we need him to do, and we need to be asking real questions. We need I'm going to talk about Gayla's interviews here in just a little bit. We will get to Gayla's interviews. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I think what we'll do is, so since he brings up other candidates gambling, should we bring up Sproles repeatedly cheating on his wife? Yeah, I think that is a legitimate question at this point. While I, have said that I specifically, I don't talk about things like that and bring those up here. I definitely think that is a legitimate question that Henry County citizens can have or should have. And specifically, anybody that is a Jim Nicholson fan, because man, I got a hair in my eye and I cannot get rid of it. Because that was a real low blow shot that he took the other day, and to be again, because of the fact that Nicholson's not even like a degenerate gambler or whatever. He's like somebody, who cares what he's doing as long as he's paying his bills, and that's the thing. Absolutely. How do you define real questions for Sproles? Well, in my mind, I would say they need to be asking Sproles questions like, how do you, as a very controversial figure within the sheriff's department, how do you plan to move forward from the position that you are in and attempt to somehow bridge a gap. I got to get my hair cut tomorrow too. That's one thing that has to happen. I've got to get my hair cut tomorrow. How do you move forward and bridge the gap between where we currently are and hopefully someplace better in the future when you refuse to ever admit any fault? Like listen, so Mary, good. So you've went and you've listened. Matter of fact, I wasn't going to do this. But I want to, how many frivolous of these frivolous lawsuits has he won or lost or settled? I think that would be a legitimate question. I think that's a legitimate question. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I have not watched the entire video. I've not watched the entire interview with Sproles. I've not watched the entire sheriff's interviews or the prosecutor's videos. And I want to say, before we get ready to go into this, I was going to talk about this later, but we'll do it now. We'll move some things around. First and foremost, I want to say, anybody that's willing to call these people out, and anybody that's willing to say, I want to have you on and I want to put this out there for the public, those people deserve a round of applause. Gayla deserves a round of applause. I will say, and I like Gayla. Gayla and I are friendly, and we've gotten along, and I respect Gayla, and I have no issue with her. I will say, from the very limited bit that I've heard, I was worried about these interviews going in, because here's the deal. I'm getting ready to send out my official questionnaire to Sproles to ask if he wants to come on. He's more than likely going to shoot me down. He won't even respond. Or maybe he'll respond like a complete asshole and make it a very big political public spectacle, and that's what he does. People say, well, the reason he won't come on your show is because you slam him. Well, yeah, I slam him because of his behavior. If he came on and would allow me to ask questions, I would not be rude to him. I wouldn't just, fall over and let him walk all over me. But I would be tough, but I would be respectful, and I would ask him questions that I think are legitimate. Okay? Here's the thing. If you're going to go through the trouble of having these people on, you have to ask some tough questions, because having these people go through this process just to answer, like, what's the duties of the sheriff's department, we're past the point of whether or not we're going to vote on these people because they can tell us what the duties of the sheriff's department. Here's what you do. You ask Craig Ring and you ask Randy Howard what the duties of the sheriff's department are. You don't ask Jason Williams, John Sproles, and Jim Nicholson, because these are, even Sproles has been in law enforcement long enough now that he can give at least some kind of a baseline answer that makes sense. So you're not wanting to waste time doing that with them. You're wanting to reach out to the people that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to the sheriff's department. Those types of questions. That would be for Randy Howard and Craig Ring. So that's something that I worried about with this. Okay. And so I just, and the people say, well, listen, she's better than you are because, at least she gets him on there. But is that really true? to have someone come on and just talk nonsense, is that doing, I mean, is anything being done, or is anyone being better educated because of this? And I'm not kicking Gayla. I'm not at all. This could be the Boss Hogs of Liberty. This could be WLBC or WIBC. It could be WoWo. It could be Mouthwash Talk Show. I'm not kicking Gayla. I'm just saying, look, it's tough. It's tough to be a fairly decent person and to be out there and to say, okay, I'm going to invite you on, John, and get him face to face where you're looking on camera and then ask him a very hard question. I get it. It's tough. And you might even go into something like that thing, I'm going to be tough. But then when you get there, it's hard. It's harder to do. It takes a minute. Now, I feel like I'm a good person and I can definitely be a good person, but I can be an asshole too. And I don't have a problem being an asshole to John Sproles or to Jason Williams or to Randy Howard if they're starting to get sideways or not answering or whatever. And so if at the end of the day they say, well, I'm not coming on because he's going to be tough on me, well, that we learn something from. We learn something from that. So I'm going to play a little bit of this. I have not asked her if I could do this. I wish I would have, but she's put this out there. It's for public. We're not going to play everything. I want you to go watch this stuff on her channel. I want to take you to her channel. It's Gayla Bear/Taylor. Okay. I'll put it up here on the screen so you can see it. I want to direct everybody to her channel. I'm not trying to take anything from her in the slightest. Okay. And we're not going to, I'm not going to let's see here. I don't want to steal anything from her. So okay, Gayla Bear Taylor, and this is her page. So you can go there, subscribe or view, do whatever you want to do. Okay. You don't have to subscribe to click. You can subscribe, whatever. Okay. So we're going to click right here on the Henry County Sheriff's Republican page. And this is right here under Sproles. Now, I have not watched the whole thing with Sproles. I watched about 5 minutes of Jason Williams. I'm going to have to go through and watch him. I'm going to watch him tonight when I get off the show. But we're gonna start out here with Sproles name tag, and we're gonna just bounce through some things. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to this. Here we go. This is very important.
The video, and it will also transcribe.
Okay.
So that way anybody can watch or read.
Sounds good.
So if you want to just take a minute and introduce yourself.
Yes.
To start off this segment, okay. Then you go right ahead.
Okay, my name is John Sproles, and I am the Henry County Sheriff, and I've been Sheriff since January 1, 2023.
Okay. Well, I have 6 questions total, and they're pretty general. So
okay.
All right, right there, we heard it. I'm not kicking or knocking Gayla. I have 6 questions, and they're pretty general. General questions, I think, are good questions that we would ask Randy or Craig. Asking general questions to John Sproles, I don't know. Okay, to me, it seems like, I hate to say softball, but that's where Sproles is good at. Sproles is glad, Sproles is good at glad handing you, patting you on the back and being, oh, shucks, look at me, All right, we're going to jump in 40 minutes into it. And I don't even know what the question is here. Let's see what the question is here. Let's see if I can find it.
And working towards being self-insured in the first place. Let me tell you some.
It's a question about the
insurance.
Target
of all that, it's John Sproles this and John Sproles that. Well,
and
All right, listen here.
It's a heavy, all first responders, like your son is a fireman. I mean, they're dealing with all of the awful stuff as well. The medics, law enforcement. It's a heavy job.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's given me a new perspective, and I truly appreciate the burden that the first responders do carry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What do you see as the biggest challenge currently facing the sheriff's department, and how would you address things differently and other than what's being done now? And this is focusing on you and in your perfect world.
Yeah. Well, so that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So there's a lot of challenges, and one thing that we hear constantly is the insurance, the lawsuits. That is a challenge that is real, but one thing that our public needs to understand, that is a nationwide challenge. You can Google this. The frivolous lawsuits really started to spike back in 2020.
Really? County insurances are being canceled nationwide.
Nationwide. This is happening nationwide.
I'm going to Google. I'll be back.
Yeah. Google that, Kate. That'd be good.
After the George Floyd incident, and it has just continued to just roll on expeditiously, and so insurance companies that insure law enforcement agencies, they have been raising rates, raising deductibles, dropping altogether law enforcement agencies in many.
That's just simply not true. That is simply not true. And I'll tell you why. All you have to do is go back on our account, on the Political Spotlight on YouTube. Go back to that and go and watch the video. They're in little short segments because I clipped them up into shorts, where Josh Estell is going to the commissioners back the first time in December and January of 2024. 2024 into 2023 into 2024, December 2023, January 2024, when Josh Estell, the insurance man, now he's an insurance man for a living, that's his job, and he says this is not common. This does not happen. Those are his words. They're not Christopher Bilbrey's words. They're not Randy Howard's words. They're not the people that hate Sproles. It's Josh Estell. All right. It's his words saying that. So, Kate's Googling what she's Googling. I'm just telling you right now where people can go and listen to Josh Estell say that. Sproles is flat out lying here. Is it tough for law enforcement today? Sure. Should it be tough for law enforcement today? It shouldn't be dangerous. I don't want to see law enforcement killed, but I think that they should be held to a higher standard. I think they should be held to not violating people's rights. And if they violate people's rights, they're going to have to take the ride, as they say to bad guys, it goes the other way. If they're going to screw around and do things they shouldn't be doing, well, they're going to have to pay the price. And that's what happens. But the thing that's happening here in Henry County, it is not happening nationwide. I'm sorry, but that's not true. It also has nothing to do with George Floyd.
Cases, and that is a nationwide trend. And I get it. We've got to blame somebody. I get to be the target of all that. It's John Sproles this and John Sproles that.
Man, it's wow. Man. He's got such a. It's Easter, right? We're talking about Easter. And the good word and the good news that he has risen. This is his cross he's bearing. I just can't believe it. He's just almost right there. He's dragging that cross. Someone's got to be the victim. He might, look at me.
Well, several facts, in law enforcement, one thing that we talk about regularly. In law enforcement, above any other profession, we have to deal with facts over feelings. And I like to say it like this: we have to deal with facts while being considerate of the feelings. But we have to go back to what are the facts, not what we feel. And the facts are, here's several interesting facts. I had our insurance agent email. I wanted him to take our first 3 years of tort notices and lawsuits and compare it to the last 3 years of the last administration. So they sent me that list, sent it to the commissioners as well. And if I remember correctly, we have had one more than the previous 3 years. In our first 3 years and the previous 3 years, we have had one more in total tort notice or lawsuit. So it's interesting to me that, it's just, they act like they've never seen anything like this. And it's all my fault. And so that is a challenge, most certainly is a challenge.
Listen, the insurance company, not Christopher Bilbrey, not Steve Dellinger, not Bobby Plummer, okay? Not some black people conjuring on the back of the bus like he likes to think they do, or whatever he says when they're saying it. But the insurance company said that it was his lack of risk management. And then in the second term, he said it was the sheriff's department's overall lack of risk management. It's like he started out and he was the bad egg, and then, one bad apple spoils the bunch, as they say. So
I feel like that we should have long ago been proactive on the county level and working towards being self-insured in the first place. Let me tell you some interesting. This is interesting stuff here about lawsuits, tort notices, and insurance.
This is really interesting what he gets ready to say here.
Payouts. We have only had to pay one claim that was required by the court to pay, one. And that total was less than $11,000. So you hear all of this, like the insurance companies paying millions of dollars because of John Sproles. We have had to pay one claim in my entire tenure so far of 3 years and 3.
Yes.
Okay. So here he's obfuscating.
Yep.
He is misdirecting.
Yep.
So one claim that was court order paid, which means it went to court and the court ordered the county to pay.
Yep.
He is not talking about all of the torts that have been settled out of court.
Out of court or settled under the watchful eye of the court, and that the
mediation.
Yes, there's been yes.
So he is talking.
Yes.
He is fudging facts.
Absolutely. Very.
When the insurance company is specifically stating that the lack of risk management by the county sheriff's department is the primary reason for them dropping it, the increase in the premiums that they have to pay is tied to his department.
No questions.
The increase is up to $4.4 million from $2.5 million previously. So that's millions of dollars that are tied directly to the actions of the sheriff's department.
Yep.
The lawsuits may have the same number or just one more than the previous administration. However, those were tiny claims, not claims for 2 deaths from high-speed chases.
Yeah. That's
He is fudging facts. There is a nationwide insurance issue going on with higher premiums, higher deductibles, these kinds of things. This is because they are tightening underwriting. They are dropping their higher risk clients faster. They're getting higher deductibles. That is not the reason that Henry County was dropped. They were dropped because of clustered claims, the liability exposure for the sheriff's department, and because of the payouts that they're having to do on these. These are not, I got, they didn't feed me enough at the jail and I lost 20 pounds.
Right.
I mean, their claims, or they called me a name, or they had the cuffs on too tight. Those were the kinds of claims the other administration was seeing. So they're paying out.
And those are general claims that, like he's saying here, that all law enforcement see throughout the nation.
Yeah, and he's right. Those were.
Yeah.
Those were.
Yeah.
What he's seeing or not. He's seeing 14th Amendment, First Amendment, potentially Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
Cruel and unusual punishment. He is not. He's seeing constitutional things coming up as lawsuits against them. Not, they pinched my pity.
Yeah. Right.
What? So he's
completely
glossing over the severity of the suits that are being filed and the risk involved in that for the insurance companies with regard to the amount of the payouts they're going to have to be doing. Because some of these are potentially 6 or 7 fifigure suits.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cruel and unusual is the 8th Amendment.
8th Amendment. Thank you. Fifth Amendment is speech. Don't have to speak against myself.
Yeah.
Which is what he should be doing.
Yeah, right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Here we go.
Months, totaling less than $10,000. Let me explain how tort notices work. You can file a tort notice. So a tort notice is it's required to file before you file a lawsuit. You've got to give the agency a heads up, basically, hey, we intend to file a lawsuit on this, and here's our claim, and here is what we want. So here is the really warped
because that would be a serious problem. That would be a serious problem. He really can't be in uniform, shouldn't be in uniform while running for office. That's really a no-no.
Set up that I think our county is starting to change. And again, we should have done this a long time ago, got ahead of the curveball, but we're not really big on being proactive. I said that 4 years ago, just reactive. When the fire's burning under your nose, then you have to do something. But you can file a tort notice there is no requirement for any truth to be in it at all. And let me talk about the beanbag incident, the infamous. If
there's no truth, the insurance company will fight it to defeat it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And no attorney is going to touch a case that has no truth behind it.
Listen, there are cases and there are situations where companies, sometimes the government, but not really the government, mostly companies, will pay out what's called a nuisance payment. We screwed up terminating. I terminated Kate, and I didn't follow these protocols, and I didn't write her up and did all this, and she's now filed an EEOC claim or something, and so we're gonna pay her, a little bit of money to go away, a nuisance payment. Yeah, right. and she goes away, and that's that. You know what I mean? It's a nuisance payment. That doesn't really happen in government. It really, really doesn't happen. And I'll be honest, these amounts that the insurance company is and having paid out aren't in amounts that are nuisance payments. That's something that Connie likes to run around. Connie being his sister. and most avid protector. You know, it's funny, and you don't ever see anything really from his wife, but you sure see a lot from his sister. And it's almost to the point of it being real weird, but whatever. Okay. So let's continue hearing what he's got to say about this beanbag incident.
Beanbag incident. I'm on topic here with the insurance. The FBI investigated that thoroughly.
Yes, he was.
The FBI said
no
wrong done. A lot of things that people do not know that I did know, in the reason that I handled the situation the way that I did. That individual had been threatening to kill our jail staff from day one. When he came in there, he had made threats to kill. He wanted to have a hands-on physical interaction, and he had threatened over and over. We knew why he was in there. He had beaten officers many times. And let me tell you this: as soon as he got out of jail, he went and beat an officer half to death, and he's in federal prison right now until 2038. So I knew that I'm not going to go hands on. And people want to make fun of, well, you had a riot helmet on. The reason that I did is because in the cell that he was in, and the reason that we were trying to extract him and put him in the padded cell, because he's in a cell that has metal corners on a bunk bed, and other items, and he could severely harm himself or anybody else. So the reason I wore a helmet is because I thought, if we wind up in a physical interaction, I don't want to get my head busted off of the corner of a metal bunk bed.
Right.
Yeah. I think his head's been busted off a corner too many times. I think that's the problem here. He thinks an awful lot by himself. I will say he's saying really weird things here. As Kate said, all the interviews he did, and he never really mentioned this. Now, he did, I have heard him, I don't know where, I have heard him say once before that, they knew how dangerous he was because of his past, yada, yada, yada. And while he was acting, gruff and whatever, they're saying they were wanting to move him into the padded cell. He was outside, and they directed. Why didn't they just direct him to the padded cell? He had already been placed. Why did they want to keep moving him from cell to cell to cell? Seems like
if
that's
it's dangerous.
Bizarre.
You put him where you're going to put him and
be
leave
done
him.
with it. Yeah.
That's what I was just getting ready to ask.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Well, yeah, that's a very strange deal there, because they had him out in the opening there on the benches, and they moved him to the cell. They put him in there, and they're talking about like, oh, we had to shoot him with beanbags because he was going to kill. He was behind a door. He couldn't have killed anybody in there. He wasn't killing anybody. Well,
and on all the interviews that he did on television, he said that he shot him so he wouldn't hurt himself.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not that we didn't want him to hurt one of the officers.
Yeah.
Or this, or the jail staff. He said we didn't want him to hurt himself, so I had to shoot him.
Yeah.
I guess he's decided that sounds dumb as it does.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so
right.
he's got to change up the story a bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Saying that sounds stupid. You sound like an idiot.
But let me explain something about that. He files a tort notice. A tort notice is not a lawsuit. It's not a lawsuit. You do not have to, to act on making a settlement. They will have to, within, I think, 180 days, actually file a lawsuit. So he files a tort notice, and the insurance company just wrote him a check for $120,000, I think. We do not have say over that. We do not, and this is what the county, I believe, is working on, and should have been done a long time ago. The insurance company is the final say. They can say, oh, we're just going to write it. Because we don't want to mess with it. So we'll just write them a check, and they'll be done. So that's what they did. And then the FBI investigates it and says, no wrong done. Oh, cool. We just gave this dude $120,000 who's in federal prison now for beating an officer as soon as he got out of jail, which I knew that's what he was going to do that day, and I wasn't going to allow it. So I gave that example because of how, these things can be filed.
Well, why didn't he beat any of the jailers that were walking him out? Why didn't he? I mean, he was blustering and puffing up and being out of line. I mean, look. Let me be perfectly honest. Marquette Neal is not a friend of mine. Marquette Neal is a bad guy. He's a bad guy. He's a bad person. Okay, he has some kind of issue going on. He's probably right where he needs to be. Okay. But like, why didn't he beat any of the people that he was interacting with? I didn't see him beating any of the people. He was, toughing up and acting crazy, but I didn't see him hurting anybody. That's interesting too. I'm not 100% sure that he can be talking about the amounts. I would be very interested to know. I'd be very interested to know what he can and can't talk about.
And they don't have to have any truth to them at all. I've had some court notices that I don't even know who the people are. I've never met them, and I'm being sued for different things. I don't. Yeah. Right.
So you all heard that, right? He said that the highest check that had been paid out was $11,000. That's not. He said the $11,000 was the highest that had been paid out, but right there he just said it had been paid out $120,000. So, which one? Which one?
I don't even know these people at all. I want to give you one more example. I hate to just keep going, but this is obviously a hot topic, and I am very disappointed in how it has been broadcasted and how it's all John Sproles. And if you remember, about a year and a half ago, I'm going to say, all of a sudden on every news channel one night, we see this woman that claimed that all kinds of awful things was done to her at our jail. Shocking, staggering, unbelievable things.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, the ACLU had filed this lawsuit. And I thought, this is unbelievable, because I just listened to a voicemail on my office phone at the sheriff's office from that lady saying, Mr. Sproles, I just want to say thank you. Your jail staff treated me so well. I was in a mental crisis and they treated me with so much care. And I've got that on a voicemail. And then I see this, I'm thinking there is no, so we immediately go review, that was just a short period of time in jail, review all of the video, and there's no truth in any of this lawsuit. And they're asking for enormous amount of money. So this is so interesting. The ACLU, once they checked for evidence and said, hey, let's get the jail, they're like, oh, there's nothing here. We're dropping you. And they dropped her.
Yeah.
Now, we've got all that word out all over the state that we've been accused of doing all of these awful things. And then the ACLU attorneys look at it and say, uh-oh, we better drop her because there's nothing here. That was a lie. Do you think we get to go back and tell, will the news air it that, oh, none of it was true? No, they're not going to do that.
No,
So
you never see a retraction.
we will never. And so this is a continual, it is just, and let me point out one other thing that is, I said that we have had one more lawsuit or court notice in our 3 years than the previous 3 years had. Only one. The vast majority of our court.
Now I want to pause there for a second, and I have got to reach out and talk to this person. Okay, I gotta reach out and talk to this person before I relay any more than I'm going to show you. But I very seriously question what it is he's talking about. Because while the ACLU might not have continued on in that woman's case, I don't know if they did or not. I do know that that case didn't just go away. They settled with her. She was settled with. Here are copies. Oh, I can't show you what I was showing you. Dude, I forgot. Being in the studio, give me 1 second. I'll have to show you this way. Give me 1 second here. Pardon me, that was so stupid. One of these days, I'll remember that I'm here. Oh, God, it's been one of those months. Stacy Smith, I was showing you. I was like, why isn't that coming up? And it's not turned around, but I'm not even going to show you much of it. I'm just going to show you this, what I got. Here is a check where they actually settled. Okay. Here's the date. Here's where she was paid out. Now, that's all that I'm going to show you at this point, because I actually have to reach out to her and find out what I can share and what I can't. But I think what he's saying here, and I'm not going to 100% guarantee, I know something came out of that I don't think he's being truthful here. The ACLU might have not went forward with her, but something happened in that suit. Let's go forward.
Court notices are being filed from Mark Nicholson, the attorney that spent 12 years in prison for manslaughter. He shot 2 people, killed one of them. And if you read up on that case, it's widely known. If you read up on that case, 9 of the jurors wanted to convict him for murder and give him 56 years, but 3 of them only wanted manslaughter, so they agreed to manslaughter. That attorney, I didn't know him from Adam. I don't know that guy from Adam. And apparently he's Chris Bilbrey's buddy. Well, from day one, when I took office,
if I had a dime for every time this dude mentioned my name, I would have a lot of dimes. Because this dude mentions my name so much. It's insane. Absolutely insane. And again, for this guy, I guess I gotta just not like Mark Nicholson, because this guy is making such a stink out of this. I'm friendly with Mark Nicholson. When I saw him and talked to him face to face on the camera the other day when we had him on, that was the first time I had ever had a face to face conversation with Mark Nicholson ever. Not that I'm opposed to being friends with Mark Nicholson. If he would say I'm friends with Mark Nicholson's sister, like I can tell you that's true. I could develop a friendship with Mr. Nicholson, but we just don't know each other like that.
That attorney, I call that type of attorney an ambulance chasing attorney. And he started posting about the racist Henry County sheriff and just dragging me through the mud. I'd never heard of the guy. And for about 6 months of that, he had a picture supposed to be me. That's my lieutenant. That's how well he knew me. For finally somebody probably said, hey, that's actually not.
He doesn't have to know you. He doesn't have to know you for very long to hear of all of this crazy. Like John thinks that you have to know him to know that he's an asshole. No, you can know of him. And it wasn't 6 months. That picture was up for maybe a couple of days. I notified Mary of that picture being wrong. She notified her brother. I didn't notify Mark because I didn't know him. We weren't friends. We weren't even acquaintances at that time. I notified Mary, hey, there's the wrong pictures up. That's common, man. That's got nothing to do with anything. That he's like making that out to be some kind of big ordeal, and it's not.
Sproles, So, but here's the thing. He is the one that has filed, him personally, has filed the bulk of all of these tort notices. It's just one right after the other.
What does this have to do with anything?
We've got to do something. Has got to be done legislatively about this, because it is amazing. So the insurance company, they'll say, oh, well, this guy's asking $1 million. We can just write him a check for $15,000 and he'll go away. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
We don't have the say over that. So here's the deal.
And did she just agree with him?
Did
she just agree with? See, this is where I gotta say it, man. I like Gayla, but when we're not pushing back on what he's saying, and specifically we're saying, yeah, we're agreeing with him. So I have to now, because my name's been brought up in this, I got to now ask Gayla, are you agreeing with what Sproles is saying here? Because I'm going to tell you, Gayla, he's lying through the majority of what he's said to you here. I'm not saying through the majority of the interview because I haven't listened to it yet. I'm just saying through the majority of what I've heard here, he is telling you a pretty picture. And I really, really, really hope that we're not agreeing with him. And I'm really, maybe I will hear pushback here in a minute. I haven't heard it yet.
Suing somebody for $1 million, I can assure you I'm not going to take $15,000 to settle. They know you can get $15,000 or $20,000. Just file some bogus court notice.
Yeah.
Randy Howard apparently knows that.
Wait a second.
He just filed
I thought they'd only paid out $11,000. So 15 or 20 might be a little high.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. What about that 120,000?
Court notice. It's not. It's ridiculous, and it cost our taxpayers, because yes, it does create undue angst and excitement of oh my goodness, we're just getting sued all the time. But you ought to read some of these. It is, and they have no there's no, they don't have to be truthful in it. It's phenomenal. And so that is all of this push about Sproles is just making our county go broke. People filing these random tort notices, we need to have the authority to say, hey, fine, you want to file a tort notice, you want to file a lawsuit, we're going to take it all the way to the end. And you're not going to get a $15,000 check. You're not going to file something, say, oh, no, $1 million. Okay, I'll take 15,000. Give me a break. So this is a nationwide thing. Hancock County, the golden rule around our counties, the big money county, they've had to be self-insured for quite a while now. This conversation is regular among the sheriffs. Our insurance company's dropping us. It's not a competitive market. There are very few insurance carriers that even cover law enforcement. And so that is why these rates are just going out of sight. And again, you can Google it. This has been a trend since 2020. And it didn't start with John Sproles in 2020.
Well, I think we're seeing insurance go up across the board on everything, because I just had to switch our homeowners. So
absolutely. Insurance is going out. It's skyrocketing, like you said, all the way across the board. But we're going to get the blame for all of the county. I'm going to get the blame for all of the county insurance and all of that because I am doing everything wrong. But it's part of the job. It's part of the position. I get it. The sheriff is, he's going to get blamed for anything regarding, and that's okay. That's That's part of it. So I don't want to be ugly about it. It's part of the job, but I do want the public to be informed. I want them to know that we have had to pay less than $11,000 on one claim. That's it, in 3 years. So yeah.
Well, I think we can skip number 4 because that is what specific experience do you have? So you're the current sheriff. So we can skip number 4. Here's a good one. How would those who have worked with and for you describe your leadership style?
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you asked that question, because what I would tell the community, the citizens, is I am confident that if you go ask every single one of our patrolmen, every single one of our officers, they are going to say, first of all, let me back up and say this, because it will specifically address the precise question. When I took office, I had a department-wide meeting, and I specifically said, I want to tell you all about my leadership style, because I don't want you to get caught off guard. Here's what I said, precisely verbatim. I will probably never raise my voice at any of you, but I will not tell you 50 times. I will be clear in my directions. I will be clear on what I intend to see out of this sheriff's office. And I will not tell you 50 times. And I'll give a couple examples of that. And another thing that I said is I will have the hard conversations with you, because it is my duty, because I love you guys. I care about you all. And I'm going to have the hard conversation right up front before something gets completely out of hand where everybody blows up. So one thing that I can tell you is that I have never raised my voice at anybody in that sheriff's office in the whole time that I have been there. Now, my wife wonders, she's like, how do you do that there and not here? I'm working on that. But
Gross.
So, and I have had difficult conversations with where we see a situation that's starting to, or an attitude that's just starting to go south. We'll bring them in and have that conversation. Hey, what's going on? How can we help? And so I am confident that every one of our officers will tell you, he is great to work for. He doesn't pull you in to jump down your throat. I don't call people out in public and how you ought to do that different. We will deal with it in the appropriate manner, not to embarrass somebody. But we don't let things slide. When there's something that needs to be dealt with, we will deal with it. I want to give you a couple of examples from the jail side. When I took office, I said our mission statement, our new mission statement at the sheriff's office is it's a scripture verse. Actually, it's modified just a little bit. But this is the mission statement and the mission of the sheriff's office, and that is do justice, love mercy, and be humble. And I have said, I say over and over, we have to do all of those equally. Okay, it's not all about
David.
To the point that you don't even, you have to do justice. You have to serve your time or pay for your crime, so to speak. But we can love mercy and we can be humble, all equally. I absolutely detest arrogant punk cops. I detest it. And I'll tell you, the reason that I ran for sheriff, I haven't dreamed about being sheriff. I remember the last election, they asked everybody, how long have you wanted to be the sheriff? And everybody, I dreamed about it since a kid. I said, I think that I told everybody when I was little, I wanted to grow up and be a fire truck.
I'm just trying to hurry through his nonsense.
So I had never dreamed about being the sheriff until right before I ran for office. I felt the desire to run for sheriff, to change the culture of law enforcement to a culture of care and a culture of leadership through humility. That is very, very foreign to law enforcement.
Right.
I know it's odd. It doesn't even sound like it works, but I talk to our guys about this. Leadership through humility. Listen, I don't care what kind of brass you're wearing on your collar. I hate the thought of a pyramid type of leadership to where I'm up here and everybody else is down here. I lead shoulder to shoulder with our guys. And I just detest that arrogant, I'm better than you, and I won't tolerate it. I terminated several people out of the jail side over it. And, I told them, I won't tell you 50 times. I told you no cursing at inmates, no berating the inmates. And I gave them one warning. And they did it again. And I just said, pulled them in the office, and I was kind. I said, I'm going to make this really quick. I'm going to tell you something. My chief deputy was with me. I'm going to allow you to say whatever you feel like you need to say to me, but we're not going to have a back and forth. What I'm here to tell you is you're terminated effective immediately. And one of them said, you can't do that. I've been here 15 years. I said, you're not going to be here 15 more minutes because the chief deputy's walking you to the car. I told you, we don't F-bomb inmates. We don't berate inmates. It's not our job to punish inmates. They're serving it's our job to take care of them, treat them with care and respect. They're in the darkest time of their life. Help them all you can. So my leadership style is, I'm not going to yell and rant and rave. But when I say that another thing that I told in our first jail staff meeting is the two things: the scriptural mission statement of do justice, love mercy, be humble. And the other principle that we're going to work from is the golden rule: treat others the way you would have them treat you. And how you arrive at the end goal is not necessarily, I'm not really worried about that. And, everybody, every sergeant has different ways of performing their duties. I don't really care how we get there, but we just have to get there to where we can say we've done justice, we've loved mercy, we've been humble, and we've treated others the way we'd have them to treat you. When we do that, you win. So hopefully that explained my leadership style. I'm not going to demand. I'm just not a demand. We're going to lead, and we're going to be shoulder to shoulder. I'm not going to lead from the desk chair. I'm going to lead from being out there with the guys, understanding what they're dealing with. And they're not. I can tell you this: if you ask my officers, this is an important thing. When they get a text from me that says I need to see them, do they say, "Oh crap"? I've had to deal with a couple situations recently on some others that their subordinates have the "oh crap" moment when they text them. And I told them, if your people say, "oh crap," when you text them and say, "I need to meet them," you're not leading properly. You're not leading with humility. They know they're going to get yelled at. And that is not the way to lead. And it is. And I would love for people, and you can't talk politics on duty, but I would love for people to go talk to our officers. There are 3 officers that are not going to vote for me. That's Jason Williams and his running mate, Brandy Pierce, and her husband, Captain Matt Pierce. Captain Matt was his running mate last time. There may be another one, but I would say that if you would go ask them, who do you want to work for? They're going to say, we love working for Sproles because he cares about us and he takes care of us. And
I'm going to call out these men and women on the Henry County Sheriff's Department and tell you, first of all, if this is true, if you guys are true, if you guys think, if this is true, it's not because they give a damn about him in any way. If this is true, it's because they've recently received raises over the last couple of years. But it's not because of Sproles. It's because of everybody in the county's received raises. The whole county has been receiving these raises. It's not been the sheriff's department. So it's like, does the coroner's office have Sproles to thank for their raise? Does the auditor's office have Sproles to thank for their raises? No. It's something that the county council, the county commissioners have been working on, and Sproles is just getting the benefit of the doubt. If the men, this is my problem. There's been so many new people brought on under Sproles that I guarantee you they do love him because they have to. They don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. And do you know what happened because Sproles brought Captain Matt Pierce into a new line of work. He was doing this. He got him a new car, did all this. Well, the moment that they found out that Brandy Pierce was going to be the running mate of Jason Williams and all of this happened, Matt Pierce gets busted out of where he's at. He doesn't have his car anymore. That's why Sproles has been driving his car. It's chaos there. If they are voting for him, and if that's true, that's nuts. If they are voting for it, listen, here's what they need to be doing. They need to be saying, yeah, we're voting for you, boss. We're voting for you, boss. And then they all need to walk their asses in and vote for other people because no one will know. Tell him whatever he wants to hear. But get rid of this loser because he's making your department, your office, a laughingstock. That's exactly right. That's why you moved Matt Pierce back from admin captain to detective, and Williams is now under Pierce. 2 captains in detectives. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. That's funny, Mary. Look for Williams to lose his rank because he's still on probation.
And he leads gently, and he leads on the same level that we're all on. He doesn't lead from the pyramid.
So she only interviewed 2 of these guys. Did Jim Nicholson not? What happened with all that? Did she say? I wonder why. I wonder why Jim Nicholson wasn't in here.
Say that, hey, I'm the top of the food chain here, and
Do we know?
Hopefully that answered that question.
That's interesting you say that, because when it comes to the sheriff and the prosecutor,
he leads by being kind, which is why he told a guy who dropped one F-bomb that he was fired.
He was fired. Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's so kind and gentle and merciful.
Well, yeah, and he it's just absolutely crazy. Well, and that's the same thing as he fired the other guy for doing the exact same thing that he had done when he shot the guy with the OC pepper ball, do as I say, not as I do.
Well, one of my goals is to reach out to people who are already in the office, the staff, and to get their opinion, because, if we just cast our vote on the surface for who, when I cast my vote, I'm voting for the whole department.
Yeah, right.
With the whole department in mind. Yeah.
That is the most important. That's the most important thing, because if you, and I appreciate the way that you're putting that in that perspective. We've got almost 100 employees total, all the way across the board. So what they want, and what that is of utmost importance. I can tell you this: there's a couple people that I think half of the department will just leave if they got elected, and that's not that. I'm not joking. There are several people that the bulk of our people will say, I'm not up for that. Can't do it. So it is important that people.
When are the bulk of those people telling him that? While they're on duty and can't be talking about this? Like, that's interesting to me.
We'll try to get the understanding of talking to our employees and saying, hey, what do you think? That is of utmost importance. And, I don't go to my employees. I haven't gone to one. I know that others have. Call them up. Will you support me? Will you support me? You know what? If you haven't earned that, you shouldn't need to be calling those people and say, hey, will you give me your support for sheriff? You've been here. Let your job speak for itself. And don't pressure those people to, don't pressure those people in that manner. I haven't done that, and I'm not calling our guys and asking them. I know from the, I obviously in the environment, I know what they think. I stay very, very close to what is going on in our department and our office all the way across the board, and I know the feel of it, and I know that our officers want me to be the sheriff for another term.
Very good. And the last question that I had, it has to do with transparency and public criticism. So if you would like to address that, you're welcome to.
Yeah. No, I'd be happy to address that. So I ran on transparency, professionalism, transparency, and accountability, and all 3 of those things are absolutely they are the utmost thing that we have to maintain. And I think you could ask the Courier Times, how transparent do we blockade when they call and say, hey, we need to get this video. We are open to every I have, TV stations calling all the time, and people requesting records all the time. We do everything we can to get all of the information that people that they legally can have out to them as quickly as possible. And here's the thing that is interesting to me when I hear, I'm here to restore integrity at the sheriff's office. I'm here to restore trust. The this is very important. This job, being the sheriff, is a very, how do I say this? It takes a certain person to be able to deal with the constant hate, constant throwing stones, constant criticism, false allegations constantly. You cannot get down in the mud with that stuff. And I go back to this, the sheriff, the law enforcement
he does that
officers in general,
constantly.
especially the sheriff, we have to stay fact focused, not feeling focused. Can you imagine a sheriff or a law enforcement officer that acted off of his feelings? Law enforcement officers are trained from day one. You have got to separate your feelings from the facts. So I can't, there are so many things that, the Nick Gully situation, for example, very highly emotionally charged. And I understand that. And I want to be respectful to that, because some things have a lot more feelings tied to them than others. You have to be respectful of that. And you have to stay out of you address facts when you need to, but you don't waller in the mud, in the Facebook mud of going back and forth, because you have leaders. Good leaders do not do that. And so
what are we talking about? What did he do with Randy Howard a month or two ago, when he and Randy stayed up for like 7 hours one evening, just going back and forth and back and forth? What did he do the other night with Jim Nicholson? That's all he does. He is like just a ball of emotions. That's all. That's nuts.
I am impressed, though. I think this is the first interview I've ever seen him do where his ears aren't red.
I looked it up, and he's the first cop in American history to have no problem at all with the Aryan Brotherhood.
Handling the criticism, that's part of the job. And so you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to continue moving forward based on the facts, and don't get wrapped around the axle with the feelings. And yeah, there's sometimes that I can get really upset with things that I see and read. But I'm not going to just start having an emotional conversation and firing back this and that. We're going to deal with the facts. I'm going to deal with the facts, and while being considerate of the feelings. So the accountability, that is of utmost importance. We have worked so hard since taking office with our new office administration staff for the accountability and the transparency part. We had to go all the way back to 2015 to get the book straightened out.
That's right.
Let me tell you this, and I won't go too long with this, but just let me tell you how the accountability side and the transparency side was. When I took office, I was getting phone calls like, "Hey, when are you guys going to pay for the police car you bought from us 8 months ago?" But we don't even have record of it. So so the accountability side was just not there. And we're dealing with taxpayer money. Everything has to be wide open. Everything we do is going to be scrutinized, is going to be accessed. So when people accuse me of hiding things, why would I do that when I know that everything we do is on camera? Yeah. I am not that stupid to come out and say, well, this didn't happen, knowing that it's all on camera. And what advantage would that be for me to hide something? If something occurs, let's just say in the jail or on the road, if something occurs that was wrong, I'm simply going to deal with it appropriately. That is no skin off of my back. Hiding something would be where it would be skin off of my back. So this stuff, all these accusations about the jail and mistreatment, they're just factually inaccurate. And if they were accurate, I would have dealt with it immediately. And again, no skin off of my back. Things are going to happen. Things are going to happen.
Does not.
They will be dealt with. And we've had several instances where we've had to deal with people and terminate people. That is not. So I know everything. I mean, you are on camera with everything you do. Everything is accessible, and I am not going to hide anything. Because again, it's no skin off of my back.
I don't think. Listen, I got to be honest. That's one thing I can say about him. I don't think he hides things, because I think he's proud of himself. I think he's proud of everything that he's done. He's proud. Listen, you can hear it in here. He's proud of where he's got the sheriff's department. He's proud of where the Henry County government is currently. He's proud of the way that people look at him. He's proud of this.
I thought he was supposed to be humble.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's a problem.
Terrible was done. All I can do, as any other good leader would do, is deal with it appropriately, and terminate the employees involved or whatever the appropriate punishment needs to be. So it's interesting hearing all of these things. Unless you've been in this position, you don't know what it's about. You don't know what it's like. And I'll say this, and be very transparent here. I look back 4 years ago at some things that I said in the campaign, and I was like, well, I've learned a few things. I've learned a lot. And so you can't, you just have to be in this position to fully appreciate it. But I've learned a lot, and I was talking to somebody the other day. They was asking about, you seem like you've grown and learned, and I said,
you definitely seem like you've grown outwards.
I have, and the reason I have is because this office and this position will humble you down. You will realize, oh wow, I thought I had a lot of answers that I didn't have, and so what we do is we learn from others, learn from our own mistakes, and it's a challenging job. I love it. I love serving the people. I love caring for people. And I love it. But one last thing, and I know you're probably like, dang, John, you're going forever. I'm sorry. Here is where my heart is with this election, just as it was with the last election. I depend solely on the providence of the Lord. That's the way I've been raised. I fully believe in that. And here's the deal. I could get voted out. I'm very, very clearly aware of that. And if I do, then I will accept that as the Lord's will. That 4 years was all you had, and I will be okay with that. That's not what I want, but I will be respectful and do what we didn't have done for us is help the incoming person. Help them with everything they need help with. I can say this: that
he told Rick McCorkle to go away. He didn't want Rick McCorkle's help. This is so full of shit. Was
to happen, I get voted out. Whoever's incoming is going to be handed everything on a golden platter, because we are just setting beautiful department-wise. I could not. We are fully staffed. We have a waiting list 10 miles long. We had 9 laterals take out.
Wait a second. Didn't they just they asked for another captain?
Yeah.
And then said that they needed at least 2 new deputies.
Yeah.
But they're fully staffed?
Yeah.
But they need people. I'm confused. Sorry.
You can't even tell what he's saying from the beginning of the interview to the end. He's surely not going to know what he said, what they said a couple of weeks ago at a meeting.
Applications to come work for our department. We hired a 14-year Indiana DNR officer that took a pay cut to come work for us. And he told me, he said, I have worked this county for DNR for nearly 14 years. I've worked hand in hand with the sheriff's office. I have never seen a transformation in any department like this in my life. The culture, the morale, people.
What his merit rank was. He was deputy.
And work with you guys, and he's now a full-time deputy here. He actually told me, he said, you need to write a book on it. I said, here's what I will say about all that. That is the Lord's work. I can't, one person can't. It's been a team effort. And I give the Lord the credit that the sheriff's office is running better than, well, let me tell you this. I got a random text from Captain Matt Pierce, who was Captain Williams' running mate last time, about 3 months ago, that said, I just want to say thank you for turning this department completely around.
This is nuts.
And like I said the other day,
shame on him for talking to
I made a comment I probably shouldn't have, but not on this comment. I did say, it just happened to be the truth, was, when I was holding the door open for those people, and I said, my son says, you're the best sheriff he's ever had. And I said, that's wonderful. Thank you. Who's your son? He said, Jason Williams. We've had a good working relationship. We don't have animosity between us at all. But I say that to say that the sheriff's office is in the best shape that at least our 25-year guys have ever been in. And they will tell you that. So I know they've all got different ideas of how they can do better, and I get it, and that's okay. But I am thankful for where we're at, and looking forward to continuing to build on the progress that we've made, and looking forward to continuing to serve the citizens with humility and care.
Very good. And one thing that I have noticed through some of the conversations that I've had is that I don't think the overall perception is that people think that they can do better than you. It's that, I mean, you've been under attack. You've been under serious attack, and you have a target on your back.
Right.
And I think it's more about they have a servant's heart.
Right.
You know, everybody who's running for office has a servant's heart.
Yeah, I don't
So I think it's more about relieving some of that.
Right. So yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point. I'd like to say something about that though. What I say is that that bothers me about that is they've got caught up in the hype and the excitement of, oh, the sheriff's under attack. This is awesome. This is a way for me to maybe slide in there, not knowing that they're going to, the attack will just simply turn to be on them when they become the sheriff. So it's, that's one of the things that I learned, because I talked about this 4 years ago. I mean, look at the things that we dealt with. We had somebody hang themselves in the jail. I talked about lawsuits and tort notices 4 years ago. And so then I learned, it just rolls over to you. And that's part of being a leader. The attacks, again, so John Sproles, he's the reason for all the insurance. You know what? The facts are, that's just not the case. We're in a hardening market, as if you just Google, that's what it'll say. And all of the attacks, I expect these attacks when I make no apologies. I'm a church guy through and through, grown up in the church, love it. When we spend hours on end with chaplains in our jail, caring for, praying with our inmates, we've baptized over 150 inmates. I expect there's going to be haters of that. And so these attacks are not, they don't really catch me off guard. There are people, misery loves company, and there are people that just don't, they're unhappy with themselves, and they're going to wage a war on whoever they can. They just want their voice to be heard. It's so interesting seeing all of these people that are on, nasty comments on Facebook. Go to their Facebook page. They will post 10 posts and get a total of 3 likes out of it. Nobody cares, because they're apparently a miserable person that has ran off all of their friends. It's interesting. You look at the nastiest comments, and you go to their profile page, and
they're from Connie. They're from his sister. They're from him. And that's where you see the nastiest comments.
They don't have friends. I had a convicted murderer posted nasty stuff, and I'm like, dude, whatever. You spent 25, 30 years in prison because you shot your wife point blank with a shotgun and killed her. And you think it means anything to me for you making some nasty comment? So that is what I would say to, yes, they are. That is why they are jumping on this train, like, oh, the sheriff's under attack. They want to talk about, oh, the sheriff's office is in trouble. And what I say to that is, that shows me that they will pander to the pressure. If they get in this office, they're going to pander to the pressure when the pressure is on, for whether they're going to support their officers or they're going to buckle to the pressure. And I'll just give an example of one, and I'll just say it because I'll talk about it in the debate. Jason Williams is posting about a pursuit. We need a new pursuit policy. He is the sole emergency vehicle operation trainer, EVOC trainer. He is our trainer. He is in charge of that. I have told him multiple times, as I have all of my upper staff, is if there is anything that we can do to make this department better, let me know and we will do it. And I've never heard any suggestion from him in that. And I'll tell you, when I see talk of a pursuit, because it all stems from the pursuit up going up to Delaware County, that's been a year and a half ago or something like that. Do you want to put that out now for a political tool? If you really care about that and thought that we were at risk, you should have brought that up the day after that.
Who has the final say in what policies are in a sheriff's department?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. That's ludicrous
He
that
can
he's saying
suggest
that.
all day long, all night long, unless Sproles says, okay, let's do that. It's not happening.
Why would
Shit
Jason
rolls
Williams
uphill, boy.
Why would Jason Williams put anything out? Because the day after that pursuit happened, Sproles was saying everything was done right. They didn't even wait for the state police investigation. He was out there saying everything's been done right. We did everything right. So if you've got the sheriff of the department signing off on everything, why would Jason put anything out? Look, I'm not saying I'm a Jason fan. I'm leaning to Nicholson in this race.
Well, and who's to say that the official policy doesn't say that at this point you call it? He wasn't the one on the other end of the radio that night. He wasn't the supervisor.
Yeah, that was nuts. That's what he's saying here is insane.
Really shitty slam again.
Yeah.
And again, not entirely honest.
No, yeah, it's not honest, because Jason Williams, I don't even know that Jason Williams was working during that pursuit. I know if he was, that wasn't the person who was in charge of Strolecki. The person who was in charge of Strolecki was the lieutenant that was involved with the Bells situation. I forget his name. If somebody in the comments says it, I'll know it. But the lieutenant that was in charge, that was involved with the Bell situation, was the lieutenant who was in charge of Strolecki. It was not Thrasher.
The other thing is that he's talking about how they've just been caught up in this. She gave him an out.
Yeah.
For why people are running against him if he's so wonderful.
Yeah.
They're doing it to take the pressure off of you. Yeah, I can see that, but they're just buckling to pressure.
Yeah.
And they're being disloyal is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
Being disloyal is what I am hearing.
Yes.
He's not saying that, but that's the implication.
That's what he's implying.
And then to go into immediately about how, it's Williams' fault.
Yeah, what a nutcase.
It's your fault. You make the policies. You approve the policies.
He's tiring, man.
And you say that everything was fine.
Yeah. He said everything was fine.
Even if he had presented something, Sproles would have told him, we don't need to do that. Everything we did was perfect.
Yeah.
That was a perfect chase.
Yeah.
It only could have been better if 3 other people had died.
Yeah, right. I mean, damn. And like,
I mean, honestly.
Well, and like Joe said, there's been a lot of other pursuits since then. One that Sproles was involved in that was a problem, and I know that he was involved in it. What was Jason Williams going to do? Call Sproles off? Remember, Sproles started that pursuit because he was in pursuit of that vehicle because they were 1038 suspicious vehicle.
I think it's a 1037.
Yeah, I think so too. And so it's been a minute. I'm just now starting to lose some of my 10 codes. And it is truly scary. Yeah. Okay. Here we go, folks.
Pursuit. But he was in the meeting when we reviewed the pursuit and determined no rules broken, no procedures broken. And now I hear about we need to look at a different pursuit policy. Now that right there is you are screaming at your guys. Hey, when the pressure's on, I'll pander to whatever the road noise is. I'm going to pander to that. That frankly upsets me. And again, we'll talk about it face to face in the debate. That you talk about a pursuit policy. You are pandering to all of the pursuit hate and talk about that one thing way back then. So you're telling me you've let the department go this whole time when you're solely responsible for the emergency vehicle operations training? That is called pandering to the pressure. And that you said that, they see that I'm under attack. That you're right. That is why they're jumping in and so I call that pandering to pressure. You're excited about me getting pressure because it might give you an opportunity to get in and it'll just turn over to you. But if you're not going to stand up for your guys and stand firm I have done that because our guys have been right in the situations that have come up. And I will not buckle. And I don't care what kind of media pressure I get. I will not buckle. When our officers do right, I'm going to stand for them 100%. And so that pursuit thing shows me right off the bat that Jason is going to pander to pressure. That is unbelievable to me. And I want that. I'm looking forward to getting that answer. Why are you talking about this now? We should have heard this when that pursuit happened, but you want to hold it until politic time. That's pandering to pressure. And I do not feel like any of these guys running will have the ability to stand up when the heat is on, and it will be on. Are you going to stand up for right, or are you going to buckle to the pressure because you have thin skin and you have your feelings on your sleeve? Are you going to buckle? And I feel like that they will, because it shows it that they're just jumping on this train of, oh, the sheriff has got a lot of pressure, let's go after him. Yeah, and I don't think, go ask our people. Could anybody of these do a better job? Go ask all of our employees. That would be the people to ask, because so that's what I would love for people to do. Go talk to our road officers and say, do you think that any one of these people will do a better job than the sheriff? Would you rather work for them? I can assure you, at least one of them, they would rather not work for, because I've already dealt with it in the department and they don't want to work for him. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I told him I won't go any deeper than that, but he knows what I'm talking about. And our people do not want to work under that kind of leadership. That is, I'm the top brass. Listen, he who thinketh that he leadeth with nobody following is simply out taking a walk. If you've got to tell people I'm the big dog and you're going to listen to me, we already lived through that. That don't work. It don't work. Humble down, work with your guys, and leadership through humility.
Be humble. I'm the big brass. I'm the big brass.
Yeah, all right. Dude, I'm telling you.
What? This guy says one thing and then immediately contradicts himself.
Yeah.
On everything.
Yeah.
Thin skin, but he's getting upset.
Yeah.
He's getting upset. And that last rant was definitely there will be consequences to pay for you running against me.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
We do, and we want to continue to do.
I have a sign that hangs in my great room. It says, "You can preach a better sermon with your life than with your lips."
That is absolutely true.
That every day.
That is true. Oh, that's.
I really appreciate you taking the time
glad to do it.
This interview, and I really do hope that because this was just kind of a last minute idea that I had because I was trying to think of how to reach a much broader audience, and I know everybody knows how to click a YouTube link.
Right. Yeah. That is that would be great. And if I can get the link and I can share it, I'll do that as well. So
sure, absolutely. I'll what I'm doing is I'm just taking the raw video, and I'm just dropping it in the order that I received the interviews, and then either Sunday evening or early Monday, I will upload it and distribute the link, and
good. All right.
Hopefully we'll get a response.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, John. Take care. Happy Easter.
Yes.
Now, really quickly, I do want to pull back here. Now, we will listen to Jason's. I'm not going to listen to it tonight. His first, let's see here. I just want to make sure.
And if it's in the county, they will dispatch us.
Okay. Yes.
Especially in the jail, just cursing and swearing, and to be a warrior in one instance and flip a switch in 2 seconds. File a tort notice. So a tort notice is
okay. So we really didn't miss anything. We didn't listen to the first few minutes. That's where he was talking about the his duties as the sheriff and what the sheriff's department does, yada yada. You can go back and listen to that, and I would highly recommend everyone listening. We will listen to Jason Williams. Maybe when we get ready to have him on, we'll prepare for that and have that listened to. Go listen to this. We skipped through some stuff and whatnot, but I would highly recommend people going and listening to all of that. I think that is important, and I am going to send him a letter. I've got that prepared, and I'm going to send that out and ask him if he wants to be on the show. I doubt that he will be, but we will let him make that decision. And we are preparing all of the other candidates. I'm getting ready to start calling all of them and putting them in line and figuring that out. It's a pain in the ass, but we'll do what we can. Sproles live interview. Remember tomorrow, Sproles live interview for himself, his Q&A, his thing on his Facebook page starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. You will be able to watch that live on his Facebook page, where you can go ask questions. We will also have it ready where you can watch it here as well. I am going to put it up, and we will live stream it, so it will be here so you guys can watch that here. We will have that. I tell you what. Do we live stream it, or do we just play it? If we play it, we won't really probably talk about it until Tuesday. What do you think we ought to do, Kate?
I'd like to live stream it.
Okay, we can live stream it.
I'm terrified that it'll go bad and he'll delete it.
Yeah, we better live stream it because of something like that. So that's what we will do.
I know that he's an arrogant son of a bitch, but I worry that he'll delete it if it doesn't go exactly the way that he thinks it should.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll live stream. If it goes longer than 7, we'll just live stream both of them because you can do that. So you'll just have to watch what's going on with Sproles if you can, and then I'll start the city live feed, and we can live stream both of them at the same time. We've done that, so that's not a problem. So we'll do that. So you will be able to watch it here if you want to watch it. That's not a problem. So that's there. There's also the Delaware County Commissioners meeting. As I stated, that meeting will be tomorrow morning. We won't live stream that, but you can watch that by going to the Delaware County Sheriff's Department on YouTube. That's not a problem. There is a Muncie City Council meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We will live stream that meeting. You will be able to watch it right here. I am going to be there. I've got some questions that I want to talk to the council about during a couple of the ordinances or the resolutions, and then I have some concerns that I want to read or address at the end of the public concerns. We will then be live tomorrow when the meeting is over to do a review of all of that. I don't see the meeting going long. It's a very simple agenda. There isn't anything that's even really too controversial on the agenda, so I look for it to be a pretty quick meeting, and that means we will be out in time to do a live. It might not be right at 9, it might be 9:15, it might be 9:30, but we will be on unless it goes long, but I don't look for it to go long, so be looking for that. And then lastly, on Tuesday and Thursday of this week, there will be Henry County candidate forums. On Tuesday, it will be the state candidates, and Thursday, it will be the local candidates. So the Sheriff's Department and everybody like that. I also want to quickly state that it was exactly 2 weeks ago that I was told that I needed to be expecting a lawsuit or some kind of lawsuit or tort claim notice from Randy Howard. I have not received that notice. The tort claim notice there's still not been anything filed with the federal court system or the Henry County court system. So again, that's out of whack. Randy posted some picture from like 1983 or something from the newspaper where he was teaching some students, some police officers, how to fight with the P24 nightstick back 40 years ago. That does not make a person into a candidate for sheriff. It does not make somebody have knowledge. I mean, it means he has an understanding of how to carry and swing a little stick. I think that people are aware that Randy is the owner and the knower of carrying a little stick and using the little stick, and I hate that for Randy. That sounds like a personal problem to me. So that's what that is. Oh, and just lastly, before we leave off, I do want to tell everyone that a very strange and interesting. I don't know if interesting is the right word for it. But a very unique individual named Bob Kern. Well, that just happens to be one of his names. He went by many names. throughout the years, died last week. Just kind of as a shock. He was just in Muncie chasing down Amber Green with Gabe Whitley and another bunch of cast of nitwits just back on the 17th of March, but he had a stroke and died. Bobby Kern has been involved in local politics and Indiana politics, mostly in the Indiana or Indianapolis area, for a very, very, very long time. He's somehow connected with the Gabe Whitley, all that crew, which is very strange. They were basically just two nuts that found themselves, and Gabe figured out a way to, I think, take advantage of Bob, which, you know, that sucks. But I was kind of shocked that I was kind of shocked. I don't really know why this happened, but Rick Yinser, for some unknown reason, wrote up a story about this and put it on Delaware County Awareness, and it was like he wrote up an article or something to put, and then some of it was deleted or something. Rick said he posted this at noon yesterday. Bobby, this is the article that he wrote. Bobby was quite the character and did some storytelling around Muncie before he faded into history from a stroke. Oh, see, so that was not in there yesterday. That was edited. Okay. So the initial story was different, because let me see here where I can find this. View edit history. Yes. The initial story was I don't know where I can find this at. It looks like it's been deleted. Anyways, it started off, Bobby was quite the character and did some storytelling. Most memorable found at Hoosier Inquirer was podcaster Chris Bilbrey living with his grandparents while proclaiming himself to be a libertarian, and the mayor's communication girl, Amber Green, and her scandalous lifestyle. Kern ran for public office many times and made the scene in 2024 Indiana Democratic Convention, running as lieutenant governor, only to be usurped by Terry Goodwin, who was favored by gubernatorial candidate Jennifer McCormick. We remember him as a fun-loving and always showing up, as many in central Indiana folks know. So I don't know why I was brought into this. I'm very confused. I said, this article doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems as if it's missing parts.
Because it's Muncie. It's a Muncie-centric page. He's talking about his getting started in Muncie. And on that page, you go to the National Enquirer, or Indiana
Hoosier Inquirer, whatever they're called.
Hoosier Inquirer, and you look at the articles. There's not many that are Muncie-centric, except those two things that are fairly recent.
Okay.
I think that's why those were brought up, was because they were Muncie related.
Okay. All right. Well, and the way that it was initially wrote, it made it seem weird. I mean, that seemed a little bit better, but I was just like, Rick, dude, what in the hell, man? Nobody found that I lived with my grandparents. I have not lived with my grandparents since I've been 3 months old. I lived with my grandparents.
I had a couple
for 3 months.
People writing and asking me, what was that? Why was Kristopher brought up? And I was like, because it was a Hoosier Inquirer article. I don't know that he wrote it, though, because it's just listed as being Hoosier Inquirer staff or something as the writer.
Yeah, I don't. No. Let's get that straight.
I think they're just Muncie related, and that's why they came up.
Yeah, Bobby Kern didn't write anything for Hoosier Inquirer. The Hoosier Inquirer was all Gabe Whitley. They just used Bobby Kern as a way for him to try to get around the situation where Gabe Whitley was told that he couldn't have a social media presence or do any of that, because he got in trouble and went to prison, and he was told that he couldn't do that. So it was very, very strange, and that whole thing was strange. But Gabe is the person who's behind all of that. It's sad that Bob died. I don't wish bad for anybody, but he was a nut job, and it'll be interesting to see who Gabe clams onto now. So it'll be interesting. All right, you guys take care. Have a good evening. We will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a very busy day, so just tune in here. Basically 9:00, Delaware County Commissioners meeting. That'll be on their page on YouTube. 6 p.m. here for Sproles video, 7 p.m. here for the meeting, and 9 p.m. or after for episode 634. All right, you guys take care. Good night. And I got to fix that. I forgot all about that. All right, good night and goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Screw it. We're out.